Okay? Okay, Nun Hayam and Aleph. I was waiting for Harvey to get back. That's why I waited. Delayed yesterday. Okay. Just a little bit of a background. The Torah says explicitly, this is Chumash. Basically, this text. An Ola. Ola is a burnt offering. A Ola could only be a male, cannot be a female. A Shlomim, a peace offering, could either be a Zacho or Nekeva. One or the other. Okay? So let's say a person finds an animal, and it definitely, based on the principle of Rove, because the majority animals that you find in this location are korbanos, because it's within the proximity of Yerushalayim. So any animal that goes astray, the presumption is, because people bring their korbanos, and the animal was lost and went astray, so you found a korban. You're not sure what it is. Is it a shlomim or is it an ola? So if it's a female, you definitely know it's not an ola, because a female cannot be brought as an ola. So what do? Based on the principle of Rove, you bring it as a shlomim, because ola, you definitely, it's not. What about if it's a male? It could be either one. It could be an ola, it could be a shlomim. So what do? Right? You can't take it for yourself, because the presumption is based on the principle of Rove that it has a consecrated status. So what do? You can't bring it as a shlomim, because it may be an ola, and you're not able to bring it as an ola because it may be a shlomim, because something's supposed to be eaten, you're not permitted to burn. And even this rika, even when you sprinkle it, one's kochi kadoshim, one's kochim kalim. You slaughter it in a different part of the sanctuary. One is in the north, one is the other parts. Kochi kadoshim have to be slaughtered on the northern part of the sanctuary. Okay, you have Bava Kama. You don't have to be an expert in Zvachim. Okay, no, you can't. Once it's consecrated, it's considered fully committed to whatever you consecrated it to be. Correct. It's consecrated. Correct.
Now, within the sacrificial law, how many shlomim?
Equal numbers. Probably equal numbers.
Not one is much more than
No. Because you bring ola. For instance, you bring ola. First, very often you bring together. You bring a shlom and you bring an ola. You bring both. They're brought very often in pairs. No. It's not. The chatos, when you bring a chatos, you bring an ola also. Every chatos is accompanied with an ola. So there's no way to know how many sin offerings were brought, because that would determine that, or how many you bring an ola. The Gemara says in Zvachim, person forgets to say Kriya Shema. So what atones for mitzvahs asay? Tshuva itself, but nevertheless the Gemara says, but when you bring in an ola, it's mechaper on what? On mitzvahs asay. Person didn't put on tefillin. It atones for mitzvahs asay. Different things. You bring an ola. Okay, let's see. Tanan Hosam. You find an animal between Yerushalayim and a location called Migdal Eder, which was a certain distance from Yerushalayim. And the same distance from Yerushalayim Migdal Eder was only one direction. But the same radius all around Yerushalayim, you should locate an animal, find an animal. So the presumption is that these animals, because it's within the proximity of Yerushalayim, within this distance, the presumption these animals were initially consecrated as korbanos, and they were lost. So Rashi says, second Rashi, Mishum dechayshema Yerushalayim yotzes brov behemus yotzes menu zvochim. Vikul espuke b'chol zvochim shirul lohem, because the majority of the animals are zvochim, are consecrated for korbanos. And therefore, now we have a question. Is it ola or is it shlomim? So the Mishnah says, it's a Mishnah Shkolim, schorim olos. The males are burnt offerings. The kevo zivchei shlomim. So as I said, a female cannot be brought as an ola. So the female is definitely a shlomim. It's bought as a shlomim. But as the Mishnah reads, but if it would be a male, it's definitely an ola. So Morris going to ask in a moment. But a shlomim can be bought as a male or a female. So how does the Mishnah say that the males are definitely ola and you bring it as an ola? Elischorim olosu. Somewhere else asks. Zivchei shlomim. The caves elo schorim olosu. Dahavu zivchei shlomim lohavu. Dahu dahavu shlomim lohavu. Why does the Mishnah say that the males are olos? And what? Shlomim, they cannot be. They could be either. A shlom could be either male or female. So how does the Mishnah say in Shkolim that you bring the male as an ola? It may be a shlomim, because a shlom can be brought as either male or female. That's the Gemara's question. Now, it's God's asset.
So therefore, at very least, one should at very least leave it alone, because you can't take it and eat it.
No, definitely not. It's kochim. Let's say a person loses his korban, and you know it's a shlom. What are you supposed to do with it? You take it to the Beis Hamikdash on his behalf. It's hashavas Vaeira. We'll discuss that soon. Yeah, well, that's something else. There's no problem. Well, we'll see in a moment. Raboshi is going to give a solution, suggest a solution, how to deal with this. Because Raboshi, as Rashi will explain, understands the Mishnah says if you find an animal, you should bring it immediately without delay. That's the connotation of the Mishnah. Because the easiest, because the Morris can ask a question now. No, because the Raboshi says what you do is you redeem it. So Morris, how do you redeem it? If something was consecrated for Bedek Abayis, right? I consecrate a table. I want to redeem it. You can't redeem it immediately. But an animal, you can only redeem what? If it has a blemish. How do you redeem an animal without a blemish? Right? You need a mum. So Morris is going to want to say that according to Reb Meir, the Reb Meir had said earlier that if you moel, if you benefit from something that's consecrated, it loses its consecrated status. So according to Reb Meir, it's not a problem. You have in mind that you're going to what? You benefit from it, and you revoke its kedusha, because Reb Meir holds b'mezid, you can revoke its kedusha. The Gemara did say, hegdish, even kochi mizbeach, even something that's unblemished, which was designated for the mizbeach, you're able to revoke its kedusha if you benefit from it. If you benefit from it, the Gemara, that's going to be a problem. The Gemara, that's Rabbi Yochanan's question. How does a person do a sin for the sake you just leave it alone? We don't say chatei b'shul shiske chavercha. You should sin what to bring about something good. You know it. So the Gemara explains. So Rabbi Yochanan learns factually. We speak. You wait till it gets a mum. When you're not sure, you wait till it becomes blemished. So now it's redeemable. And now you take two animals. Well, you take money and say, look, whatever it is, if it's a shlomim, let the kedusha go on to its money. Let it be a shlomim. And if it's an ola, you take other money, let the kedusha go and be on the money. So you have two sets of money. So one, and if it's not, let's say it's an ola, it's not a shlomim, then in either case, you designated the money to purchase a shlomim. Right? It's a conditional consecration. So now once one set of coins you buy the shlomim, and the other set of coins you buy an ola. Could I ask you a question? You find an Aveda. You got to be busy with it. You got to be busy with it, okay? That's the mitzvah Shavas Aveda. Let's say a person doesn't have the money. You don't. It's okay. You go to Bez and say, look, this is the issue. Go take care of it. What are you supposed to do? You don't have the money to redeem it. It's consecrated animals. The owner lost it. The owner lost it. Now it's consecrated. You have a consecrated animal. We're not sure. Is it a shlum? Is it an ola? What do you mean it doesn't belong? It does belong. It has a status. That's because of rove. Because it was found in a certain location where the majority of the animals in this location are korbanos. You know, firstly, this usually probably happened during the regalim. Yet you taught hundreds of thousands of Jews. Something a person had to bring a shlomim during the year. When does he bring it? He waits for Yom Tov to bring it. He's Ola regular. Ola, Osham. I mean, the Gemara's guess maybe it's some other kind of korban. How do you know it's this? Maybe it's some other kind. Maybe it's a Toda. The Gemara's going to ask those questions on Amid Beis. Why are we limiting the shlomim and Ola? There's Osham and there's Toda. So the Gemara will address that. Tosa said maybe it's a korban Pesach. The Gemara also said maybe it's a korban Pesach. And because even if it's a shlomim, even if it's a shlomim, it has a different period of time that you're permitted to eat it, right? A shlomi, you eat 2 days and a night. A Pesach, maximum only till the morning. So there's limitation. Okay, it's interesting. We can discuss many things Tosas brings about. There's aloha, Erev Pesach, do we say Mizbul Soda? Favorite. Why don't you say Mizbul Soda? So therefore what? Eat it in the morning. Eat it before, when you're still permitted to eat chametz. Right? Same thing. So eat it in the morning. Right? So the Gemara says, because because you don't create a situation, when you have the full amount of time, we're not concerned it's going to come noser. But if it actually infringes on the time period you eat it, that may cause the korban to become noser. Therefore, you can't initially establish a setting where there's a chance the korban's become invalidated because there's not sufficient time to eat it. That's the concept of emivin kochel b'sapsul. So therefore, we don't say, well, invite more people. Get more people involved. You never know. So since you're creating a scenario where you may, because the time is actually shortened, of course, you can't eat chametz after a certain hour, or Yom Kippur, you're not permitted to eat at night. Therefore, you know something? Don't bring such a korban Erev Yom Kippur or Erev Pesach for that reason. Okay? So that's a little bit of a problem. So maybe a Pesach, right? So the Pesach has a limited period of time. We're speaking of Pesach not on the 15th, on the 14th. Right? You found the Pesach on Chol Hamoed. So says Pesach on Chol Hamoed is a shlomim. Because once its specific designation cannot be utilized any longer, it's no longer a Pesach, it's a shlomim. Tosafos says a chiddush that even though it's a shlomim with a limited amount of time to eat. Which I always understood that shlomim, when it loses its specific designation, a Pesach is a shlomim with limitation on it. Only those who originally participated in the purchase of it could eat it. Those are limitations, restrictions. So it's a shlomim with restrictions. Once it can no longer be used for what it was designated for, then it's what? The restrictions are removed, so what does it become? It's an expanded shlomim. It's a normal shlomim. We'll have to see Tosafos Amud Beis discusses it. Omer Aboshia. So Aboshia says, so what do you do if you find a male? Because you're not sure, it may be a Ola, maybe a shlomim. Omer Aboshia, Hocha Balochov B'Dmei Anaskina. We're speaking of a person, he takes money, and he says, whatever it is, he transfers the kedusha off the animal onto the money. And the Gemara understands that we're speaking, it's an unblemished animal. Bochi Komer. Chayshina Sheba Olos. It may be an Ola. When it says in the Mishnah, if it's Olos, it doesn't mean it's definitely an Ola. It may be V'Ramehi. You hear this? And we're saying the Mishnah in Shkolim is following the position of Rameir. The Omar Hegdish B'Mezid Mischalil. Even Kedusha Zaguf. Stop, the Gemara is going to ask. That you're able, because until now the Mishnah is speaking according to Rameir, it's Koche Berek Habayis. Person deliberately takes Berek Habayis, a consecrated table, and gives to a woman and says, Harei Mukadeshesli. So he wants to he's actually stealing from Hegdish. He wants to remove it from the domain of Hegdish and use it as if it's his own object. Rameir says that's Milah, and when somebody's Moel, it revokes the consecrated status. That's Rameir. Same thing here. He takes money, he says, I want to revoke its consecrated status, and you're able to do it. Because that's called Me'ilah. That's Me'ilah. But Me'ilah is in this Doraisa. It's Torah violation. Right? Over there where he's Makadosh the woman deliberately, he was a thief. That he was Moel. He wanted to take it out of the domain of Hegdish. It was a Torah violation. Right? He has to pay Keren, Chomesh, and he has to bring a korban. In that case over there, according to our mayor. So the Gemara asks, "Kedusha aguf mi mischalel?" How could you tell me you're attributing to Reb Meir? And when he takes the money, he deliberately he revokes its kedusha. He says he want the kedusha of the animal should go over to the money, which means he's taking the animal out of the domain of hegdish. Votenan ein molach hamoel b'mugdoshin elo bebehemo klishoris bilvod. Here, if a person goes, let's say, takes an object and is moel. Reuven was moel. Shimon can no longer be moel in that object. Because if Reuven's moel, it's already assumed an ordinary status. So Shimon can't schulin. So therefore it's a moel like a moel. Once Reuven was classified that he was moel, he benefited or he took it out of the domain of hegdish. So Shimon is not able to be moel anymore because it's no longer consecrated. What about it? It's a consecrated animal. A person consecrates an animal for a korban. Or klishoritz, it's a ministering vessel, which is classified as kedusha zaguf, right? Then we do say yeshmo lachem oil. Although Ruvain took it, benefited from it, as many people as benefit from that vessel or that animal, every one of them is in violation of Elo. Ketzah, what's an example of this? Ruvain rides an animal. And after Reuven rides the animal, which is consecrated as a korban, Shimon rides it. And then Levi, and all the way down the road. As many people who ride that animal, kula mo'alu. Every one of them is in violation of Milah, and they have to bring a korban. And they have to, whatever the value of that benefit is, they have to, the value, a fifth, plus a korban. You had a ministering vessel made of gold, a goblet made of gold. Multiply drank from that same ministering vessel. Kula molu. Every one of them is moel. So we see clearly that kedusha zaguf is met that you cannot be moel. Meaning you're moel, but when you benefit, its status is not changed. So over here, what do you mean that the animal it's going contra a mayor? And you moel, and when you benefit, it retains its status. You're saying it does not retain its status, but kedusha zaguf we see that it does retain its status. It's a mishnah. Moshe says, "Ahi Reb Yudi." The mishnah Mila that says Yishmol Achamoel by kedusha zaguf, that's a tribute to Reb Yudah. That's Reb Yudah. Wait. Hareb Meir. The mishnah in Shkolim that we're quoting with the animal, you find that a certain proximity to Shalayim that was saying that you could revoke it. That's going like Reb Meir. Reb Yudah says no, you're not able to revoke it. So Gemara asks, where do we find this is a new argument? Where do we find Reb Meir and Reb Yudah arguing it? They don't argue this point, right? They argue what's the argument to Reb Yudah and Reb Meir? Reb Yudah says the Gzeres Kos of Mila is what? Only inadvertent. Person not being aware something is hegdish, so if he benefits, the transition takes place. But what about if the person deliberately would want to take something out of the domain of hegdish, picks it up, knows it's consecrated money, wants to purchase something with it? It retains its kedusha status. It's according to Reb Yehuda, right? Reb Meir says no, based on the pasuk, not only b'shogeg, even b'mezit, right? Even b'mezit. That's the argument. But what do we see in terms of the classification of kedusha, that would be kedusha zaguf, that according to Reb Yehuda, you would not be moel, but according to Reb Meir, you would be moel. They're talking about, it's a whole different discussion over there. In a context where you're not able to remove the kedusha, if Reb Yehuda says the kedusha, normally inadvertently is the kedusha removed? Yes. But he says kedusha zaguf, if you ride the animal, you benefit from the ministering vessel, you don't alter its status. B'shogeg, according to Reb Yehuda, we're attributing the Mishnah Mila to Reb Yehuda. So Reb Meir says Mezid is like Shogeg. So if Mezid is like Shogeg, so if B'shogeg according to Reb Yehuda, you don't alter its status, why would you say according to Reb Meir, deliberately you alter its status? Reb Meir is only arguing it's not only Shogeg, even Mezid. Right? So if according to Reb Yehuda, Shogeg, you don't alter its status, right? Because it's Kedusha Zaguf. So why Mezid would you alter its status? They're only arguing the law of Mila doesn't apply even deliberate. But they're not arguing in terms of whether you could have revoked something's status. If it's not revocable, it's not revocable. You cannot revoke something which is Kedush Saguf. That's the worst question. Reb Yehuda, Nishma the Reb Meir. From Reb Yehuda, we're able to infer what Reb Meir's position would be. That what? Lavam Reb Yehuda Hegdish B'Shog Mischalel. Reb Yehuda says if somebody benefits something that's consecrated inadvertently, right? What happens? The transition from Kedusha to Chulin takes place. But yet if you take something which has Kedusha Guf inadvertently, you benefit, right? It's not desecrated, meaning it retains its Kedusha status. The Rameir Nami, so say the same thing on Rameir. Although normally that if you benefit from even deliberately, you will take something out of the domain of Hegdish, the transition takes place. Dusa Guf lo mischalo. But if it's Kusa Guf, you're not able. They're only arguing Mazid and Shogeg. But in terms of what the consequence is, whatever the consequence of Shogeg is, that will be the consequence of Mazid. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, the consequence of Shogeg, it retains its status by Kedusha Guf. So the consequence of what Mazid, according to Rabbi Meir, will also retain its status of Kedusha Guf. Right? We're asking this on Reboshia. How do you, Reboshia, want to differentiate and attribute one Mishnah like Rabbi Yehuda and the other Mishnah like Rabbi Meir? There's no argument. What one holds, the other one is agreeable to. They're arguing something totally different. Rabbi Meir says Shogeg, Mazid is no less than Shogeg. That's all they're arguing in. But if Rabbi Yehuda says Shogeg, you do not affect Kedusha Guf, Rabbi Meir will be agreeable to that. Mazid will not affect Kedusha Guf. Okay, according to Rabbi Yehuda, the way we rule like Rabbi Yehuda, if a person benefits from something inadvertently, what happens? It's called Me'ilah. Me'ilah causes the conversion from Hegdish to Chulin. Wait, before we get to Rabbi Meir. I don't want you to be confused. If you ask the next question before you're at the first, you get confused. According to Rabbi Yehuda, we rule like Rabbi Yehuda, okay? Shogeg is Me'ilah. Tersa says, when you moil, the transition takes place. Shogeg. Okay? Mazid, you're not moil. Even though you're not permitted, it's not called Milah, therefore the transition doesn't take place. That's Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says, what about if something was consecrated for a korban? And you'd benefit from it inadvertently. Is it called moil? I mean, you have to, does it affect the status of the animal? Not you. It's explicit, not. Not you would think not. It's explicit. 15 people ride an animal. The animal retains its kedusha. So that means since you're not moel, right? It's not the conventional moel. Therefore, retains its kedusha. That's what Rabbi Yehuda says. Even though by kedushas berek abayis, by other consecration, it would affect its status. So what determines whether it's affected or not? Whether you moel or not. So he says the me'ilah-ish consequence is only by berek abayis and not by kedusha guf. What does Rabbi Meir argue with Rabbi Yehuda? In what context? He says, not only you moel by shogi, even mazid you moel. That's what Rabbi Yehuda said. Rabbi Meir is arguing. Even mazid you moel. So whatever Rabbi Yehuda is opinion by shogeg, Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Meir says, even mazid. Okay? But we're saying now according to Rabbi Yehuda, if it would be kedusha guf, which normally you omol, you're not, milah, it doesn't take place. So Rabbi Meir would agree to that. Right? What would be the reason to differentiate in that context? Right? They're on the same page. So that's the worst question. What are you differentiating between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda? It has nothing to do with their argument. Their argument is Me'ilah limited to Shogeg, or it could even be a Mazid. But as Rabbi Yehuda says, Shogeg will not affect the status of Kedusha Guf, Rabbi Meir would agree to that. Okay? It doesn't mean the consequence of Me'ilah. Okay? On that, the Gemara says, no, Rabbi Meir says you can differentiate. Even though, to a degree, they would be agreed, but in this context, there's a differentiation. Listen what he says. Hosam lo k'mechavin lafkinu l'chulin. Ocho k'mechavin lafkinu l'chulin. Now, we had earlier, remember we had, according to Rav had said, according to Rabbi Meir, you're not moel. Rabbi Yochanan says, according to Rabbi Meir, B'shogeg. B'shogeg, you would not be moel. No, Rabbi Yochanan. Because it's mekach tos. Rav says there's no such thing. Bein b'shogeg, bein b'mezid, you moel. Right? There's exeres kasamila. Inadvertent, deliberate, you moel. We don't make such a differentiation. Because mila is exeres hakosov. Exeres hakosov. We don't equate mekach tos to here. If you would have known, you wouldn't have. We don't say that. The Torah says whenever a person inadvertently benefits from hegdish, he's moel. Right? That's what Rav said. He argued Rabbi Yochanan. And what the Mishnah is speaking about a specific case. That's Rav. Big day corner, right? Now, over here. According to Rabbi Yehuda says the Xerskos of Mila is only b'shogeg, not b'mezid. Right? So what is the Torah saying? But let's apply the principle. If the person would have known, would he want to? He picks up a bag of money, he purchases an item. Right? Would if he wanted to? If he would have known it was sexual, would he have done such a thing? He would have. Yet there's exeres hakosov. It's what? Doesn't make a difference. The conversion takes place. That's what the Torah says. If you do it deliberate, the Torah says it doesn't take place. That's the exeres hakosov. Even b'shogeg it shouldn't have taken place. Right? B'shogeg it shouldn't have taken place. But b'shogeg we're going to allow an atonement. Right? The whole concept. B'shogeg we allow an atonement. B'mezid, because when you want to deliberately take out from hegdish, we're not going to allow you to take it. Inadvertently, the transition takes place. That's exeres hakosov. Deliberate, the Torah says it's not going to take place. But I want to revoke it. Intentionally, I want to steal. It's irrelevant what you want. You cannot revoke hegdish, regardless of what your intent is. Even though you intend to revoke it, it's not going to be revoked. Rameir says no. If you want to revoke hegdish, Torah says you have the ability to revoke hegdish. So therefore, we're able to differentiate by kedushas haguf. By kedushas haguf, where it's exeres hakosov, that only inadvertent, not deliberate, I should say, because it's inadvertent. The person really doesn't want to revoke it. He doesn't want to revoke it. Therefore, we say by kedushas haguf, therefore you're not able to revoke it. Because in truth, he doesn't want to revoke it. The whole thing is a mistake. But according to the mayor, that you're even able to revoke it. When you intentionally want to revoke it, maybe in kedushas haguf you're able to revoke it. Because there's this concept, I want to steal from hegdish. I want to utilize it as if it's mine. So maybe according to a mayor, so even though according to Rabbi Yehuda, b'shogeg, by kedushas haguf, there's no transition, that's because really shogeg, even by bedek habayis, there shouldn't be a transition. There should not be. Because if the person would have known, would have he wanted to benefit, he wouldn't have wanted to take it. Xeres hakosov. But where's the xeres hakosov? By kedushas dam, by bedek habayis. Not by kedushas haguf. But Reb Meir is a whole different approach. Reb Meir understands you're even able to revoke it, even if you know it's hegdish and I want to take it. So if that's the case, maybe that you're able to affect, even if it's kedushas haguf. Because there you want to uproot, you want to revoke the hegdish. That's how the Gemara wants to differentiate. Okay? Let's read it inside. No. We're quoted a mission. It says if you have multiple people riding on an animal, no, it's vadi. Rove rules. Rove rules. This is vadi hegdish. No, it's not a suffix. No. If a person would benefit, he'd get malchus. Person rides on the animal deliberately, knowing this animal, we will give them a malchus. Because Rove rules this animal's hegdish. No suffix. Give you an example. How are you permitted to drink milk? Maybe the animal has some kind of internal defect, it's a treifa, and the milk of a treifa you're not permitted to drink. Because Rove animals are not treifas, the Gemara says. Right? They don't have these defects, therefore you're permitted to drink the milk. Same thing. Rove rules this animal in this particular proximity to Shalayim is a consecrated animal. What is it? We don't know what it is. But it's consecrated. If that's the case, you're not permitted to benefit. No, that's me'ilo. You're not permitted to benefit from hegdish. Yesh mo'el achamol. Mezid. That's me'ilo. Me'ilo means even though you affect its consecrated status, you still benefit from hegdish. Right? When you lift it up, you're not in violation. Let's say you benefited from it. We had earlier, you eat the bread. You benefited. Person knows something's hegdish, a consecrated piece of bread, eats the bread. The man is in violation of negative commandment. You give him malchus, where he's forewarned. The two laws of Mila. There's Mila benefiting, and there's Mila where you want to take it out of the domain of hegdish. Mazid will not take it out of the domain. But if you benefited, you benefited. Tosa said, we said a coin. You want to use it as a counterweight on a scale, a counterbalance. You benefit from the coin. Okay? Let's go further. Some more want to say maybe, according to Rabbi Yehuda, according to Rabbi Meir, even if the animal is unblemished, you're able to revoke its kedusha because according to Rabbi Meir, deliberately you're moel. Some more asks, Ema the Shabbat le the Rabbi Meir bekochi kadoshim, bekochim kal mi Shabbat le. Yeah, maybe he says even that's true. That's only kochi kadoshim. Kochi kadoshim has a consecrated status, meaning, let's say an ola. An ola is exclusively from God. It's part of the mizbeach, but maybe something that you're able to eat. Shlom you eat shlomim. Who said you could revoke it? He says it's kal v'chomer. Kochi kadoshim is chalim. If kochi kadoshim, let's say chatos, an ola, when you want to revoke its kedusha, you're able to. Kochim kalim, which is a lesser degree of kedusha, although its kedusha is mizbeach, lo kolshkein. Therefore, the Gemara wants to say, so therefore, we're attributing the Mishnah in Shkolim that if you come upon such a situation, you're able to revoke its kedusha, where you transfer it onto money, and you, as we said, Omer Rav Choma bar Rukva, Omer Rav Yosef bar Chanina, Omer Yeremia Hegdish b'Meis Mischaliyah, B'Shogei Mischaliyah. As Rav Choma bar Rukva said, according to Rav Meir, Hegdish b'Meis, even kedusha zakuf is Mischaliyah B'Shogei Mischaliyah. Echad kochi kadoshim, echad kochim kalim. How do we know this? How do we know we apply the principle not only kochi kadoshim to the more advanced level of kedusha, even to the less level? Kal v'chomer, kochi kadoshim mischalim. If a person wants to revoke the kedusha of kochi kadoshim, which is a more advanced level of consecration, definitely the lesser degree of consecration he can. Okay? So according to Rabbi Moshe, how is he explaining the Mishnah in Shkolim? We're attributing to Rabbi Meir that if you find a male korban, what do you have to do? You take 2 piles of money and you say, if it's an ola, I want the kedusha to transfer on to this money, and I will purchase an ola. And if it's a shlomim, the kedusha transfer on to this other money. And then you go buy with pile A, you buy an ola. With pile B, you buy a shlomim. Right? That's what the Gemara says. Now, if a person deliberately wants to revoke the kedusha, he's in violation. There's an Isser Milah. It's a Torah violation. So that's Toiba Rabbi Yochanan. How do you tell a person to do something wrong, to sin, for the sake of what? Of bringing the korban. The Torah says you're not permitted to be moel. You're not permitted. So if you're not permitted, how can you tell the person, take money, deliberately revoke its kedusha? Since Rameir holds, if a person wants to do the wrong thing, he can. Over here, we advise the person to do the wrong thing. How do you advise the person to do the wrong thing? Person finds an animal, he goes to Bezdin, says to Bezdin, what should I do? So he says, well, according to Rameir, you do take 2 piles of money and revoke the kedusha. Or the revocation of kedusha is what? It's nisdoraisa. It's Torah violation. So Rabbi Yochanan has a difficulty with this. He's like in wonderment. Do you tell a person to sin for the sake of bringing about a good result? To reconcile the issue over here? You're not permitted. So Rabbi Yochanan says, the whole question never even started. Elam Rabbi Yochanan mamtin achet tumam. You let the animal graze until it gets a mum. Once an animal is blemished, you can redeem it. You can do the exact same thing. Take 2 piles of money, and you say, if it's an ola, pile A should be an ola. And if it's a shlomim, pile B should be a shlomim. But what do you do with the money? But maybe what happens if it's not an ola, not a shlomim? Say, regardless of what it is, I'll bring an ola as a nedava, voluntary nedava. And if it's not a shlomim, I'll bring a voluntary shlomim. Very simple. No. You need 2 piles of money. The animal's blemished. I'm not sure is the animal an ola or shlomim. So let's say I take 1 pile of money, and I say, if it's an ola, let the money be ola. It's shlomim, let it be shlomim. So after everything's said and done, do you know what it is? It's the equivalent of the animal before it had the blemish. What have you accomplished? David, you understand the difficulty. You have to have 2 piles of money. If you have 1 pile of money, what is this? I'll ask you, what is the status of the pile? Is it ola or shlomim? I know, that's the original problem. We're trying to resolve the issue. How do I make take value out of something which is no known entity to bring it to value where I can bring the carbon on the mizbeach? If it's an ola, I can't bring it as a shlom. If it's a shlom, I can't bring it as an ola. So how do I resolve it? Rabbi Yonah says, wait till it gets a mum. Now I could redeem it. Redeem it onto money. 1 pile or 2 piles? I need 2 piles of money. Because I don't know which one it is. And I say, if it's an ola, let pile A be an ola. If it's a shlomim, let pile B be a shlomim. And if it's less one and not the other pile, I'll bring as a shlomim, as a nadava, just as a gift. And if it's a shlomim, I'll bring the ola as a gift. Because you can bring both within the context of a gift.
But why do you have to bring it all together? So that there's a one. Why do you have to...
Because it's the same thing Hashem was saying. It's no different than originally, the discussion. Why do you have to get involved, period? Right? Well, you consecrate it. Okay, two things. Let's say you take let's say the animal's worth $500. I think $500. They say the kedusha of this animal, let it go on to the $500. Okay, take another pile. Let's say, well, what happens if the animal's not a shlomim? So this $500, I can't be shlomim if the animal's not a shlomim. So I have another pile that says, if it's an ola, let the $500 value go into the $500. And I said, pile, which is $500, I'm consecrating as an ola. So you have to. It's cost you over here. Of course, and initially it cost you. Initially it also cost you because before the animal was unblemished, and now it's blemished. A blemished animal is worth less than a blemished animal. Of course, Hashavas Vaeira is going to cost you money. No question.
What I do? All right, let me get my kiddushin.
No, you have a chiyuv to redeem it. Of course you have. That's not even a question. You're in violation of Baltacher if you don't redeem it. Yeah. Okay, we will stop here.